All right, today we're going to be working on a tankless water heater, and we're going to do a service that's pretty much going to solve all the problems that you would normally have with one of these. So let's go. Now, I'm going to be doing this in two parts because it's going to be kind of a long video, so I want you to understand everything that's going on here. Now, we're going to be doing a flush. I'm going to be doing some other things. I just want to show you this on the inside so that you get what I'm doing. So back here, and this is shot on an iPhone, that's why it's such good quality, we have the servo flow control assembly. Part of the issue that this customer was having was they were having intermittent problems with the water, not getting hot, and basically getting no code at all. Now, before replacing it, we're going to flush the system out, see if possibly it could be scaled on the inside. There's a turbine there. Sometimes that turbine breaks and we have to replace the parts, but that's what we're doing here. Now, this particular unit predates the service menu, so I'm not able to really use it to see if it needs to be flushed. If there was a service menu, I would be able to do that. But what I am able to see is the outgoing temperature of the water and the gallons per minute. The gallons per minute is what's going to tell me if it's giving off the proper DC voltage to fire the burner, and it seems to be. Now, I'm taking off this front cover, and I'm going to show you another thing while we're in there. On these older generations of units, Rinnai committed many sins, like putting important parts where you really can't reach them behind a bundle of wires that you don't use. So with that flow sensor directly after, we also have a bypass valve. Think of it like a mixing valve. We have one pipe goes through the heat exchanger, another one that goes right into the hot side. During normal operation, that may open to like a 50-50 split. But since we're going to be flushing this thing, we want all of our flushing solution to go directly through the heat exchanger. So what we're going to do is I have a hose hooked up to my service valve, and I'm going to open that up. And just as the unit is starting to fire, I'm going to unplug it. The reason being, on the initial call for hot water, that valve will open all the way up to send all the water through the heat exchanger. If I unplug it, it has no more power to that valve, and all my flushing solution will go through the heat exchanger. If I didn't do that, more than likely it would follow the path of least resistance and go through that pipe and then directly back into my hose, and we wouldn't get a proper flush. So I'm going to be using Haymaker for this. Haymaker is a solution that you mix with water. It is citric acid. You'll have people swear up and down that the reason that Rinnai doesn't recommend you using this is because it'll destroy the machine. That is not the case. The reason that all the manufacturers recommend white vinegar is because they can guarantee that it's potable. You can eat vinegar. Nobody dies from vinegar. If they recommended anything else, they would be responsible for testing that it's safe. So now I'm going to take apart the burners. I got to take this cover off. I'm going to start by going around and taking these bottom screws off. It's important to find a container and separate your screws because there was not a whole lot of continuity in the design of these different models. In this case, this is an RC98. It's a little bit different than the RL94s and RL75s that I'm used to. Now, right here inside of these holes, you're going to want to look and see if you see any white spots. You see white spots? They're spider webs. Actually, most of this service is about like bugs and leaves and stuff. Any of these units that had the concentric vent, the pipe inside the pipe, they all had problems with bugs getting in there, leaves getting in there, landscapers go and blow the grass inside of them. You usually got bees in the fan and spiders in the burners. And spiders are like weirdly smart. We should really talk about at some point how smart spiders are. I have a whole theory about spiders. Like, you ever see that show? It's like the Fixies or something like that. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. So I'm going to pull the fan out of here. In this case, on this particular unit, I can't get that out of there, so it's just going to be a visual inspection. You don't see any bees, right? Well, that's good, because I'm allergic. And now I'm going to take this stuff out to my truck. I've got the flame sensors and the igniter. I'm just cleaning them off with a Scotch-Brite pad. And now the reason that I'm doing this in my truck is, one, nitrogen cans are pretty heavy, and why am I going to drag that down in the basement? And two, there's no smoking allowed in the basement. So I do yearn for a simpler time when people smoked everywhere. But then we wouldn't be working on tankless water heaters, now would we? Now, it seems like I never have enough nitrogen to do exactly what I want to do, but I got this thing pretty clean. Luckily, it wasn't really excessive. While I got it out, I'm going to do a visual inspection of the heat exchanger. We're back inside now, by the way, for those of you that couldn't follow along with that. And even though there wasn't any webs, I do see a pretty significant level of carbon buildup on these burners and on the heat exchanger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything back together, and I am going to put a manometer on this thing. For years and years, Rinnai would always complain about the gas pressure, and then they didn't put a regular manometer fitting size hole on the thing. And guess what? The problem wasn't actually the gas pressure. It was just their shitty design let a bunch of spiders and bees in there. But we'll get back to that. This one has the right size fitting, so at least by the time they made this unit, like 12 years ago, they got something right. And so now I'm hooking back up to my Webstone valve down there at the bottom, my service valve. I'm going to open it all the way up when I'm doing this so that I don't overheat the heat exchanger. And I'm going to use my dip switches to set the high fire and low fire, and I'm just going to adjust the gas pressure from there. But that's it. And that should get me trouble-free for, I don't know, another year or so.